The seemingly invincible Japanese Navy lost 4 aircraft carriers overnight at the Battle of Midway. How did one of the world's strongest fleets suffer such devastation in just a few days? This defeat saw the Japanese Navy lose 4 core aircraft carriers and over 250 aircraft, along with numerous skilled aircrew, effectively deciding the course of the Pacific War. But why? In truth, this historic defeat harbored structural issues relevant to modern organizations. Overconfidence, the neglect of crucial information, and organizational rigidity. What were they exactly? This video will reveal why overwhelming superiority backfired, who overlooked what, and how these lessons can be applied to modern crisis management. Now, let's delve into the full scope of that collapse. The main feature further elaborates on American intelligence strategy and Japanese overconfidence. In December 1941, the Japanese Navy launched the attack on Pearl Harbor, delivering a devastating blow to the American Pacific Fleet and securing an initial victory. Since the war began, the Japanese military achieved successive victories, sweeping across vast areas of the Pacific. Their momentum was truly described as invincible. In particular, the Type 0 carrier fighter, commonly known as the Zero, dominated Allied aircraft with its superior maneuverability, earning fame as the King of the Skies. The first air fleet, led by Vice Admiral Chuchi Nagumo, known as the Nagumo Mobile Force, was considered the world's strongest carrier strike group after the success of the Pearl Harbor attack. The brilliant success of the Pearl Harbor attack instilled a deep success experience within the Japanese Naval High Command, which would later lead to overconfidence. Nothing is impossible for us. Amidst the exhilaration of continuous victories, no one knew that the seeds of such hubris were quietly beginning to grow. The atmosphere of reveling in victory's sweet wine eroded rational judgment. They pressed onward towards their next objective, the capture of Midway. The capture of Midway Island was a crucial operation intended to keep the U.S. Pacific Fleet, based in Hawaii, in check and solidify the defense of the Japanese homeland. The Japanese Navy's early successes heavily relied on its surprise attack strategy and the high proficiency of its aircrews, honed through rigorous training. Their aircraft piloting skills and bombing accuracy in particular were world-class. This underpinned their initial overwhelming superiority. Furthermore, during the Pearl Harbor attack, meticulous preparations exceeding enemy expectations were made, such as modifying torpedoes for use in shallow harbors. These factors combined, establishing the Japanese Navy as an invincible force in the Pacific. However, the Americans had already succeeded in breaking the Japanese Navy's codes, gaining almost complete knowledge of Japan's movements. The Japanese, however, disregarded this crucial intelligence. Overestimating their own superiority, they underestimated the enemy's intelligence-gathering capabilities. The Midway operation was a highly complex plan, involving a diversionary attack and an assault by the main fleet. But here, a pitfall no one noticed had opened up. Despite knowing that the U.S. forces had broken Japanese codes, the Japanese Navy failed to grasp the gravity of this information. They believed they could secure victory solely through their own strength, committing the fatal error of neglecting intelligence. The Midway operation plan was overly complex and lacked flexibility. A difficult-to-change plan invites chaos on the battlefield. Basic elements like resupply and reconnaissance were neglected, with the operation beginning with insufficient scouting in particular. The Nagumo Mobile Force fell into an inefficient situation, repeatedly switching between bombs and torpedoes, wasting precious time. Vice Admiral Chuchi Nagumo, the commander, hesitated in his decision regarding aircraft armament, which created a fatal delay. But here, a pitfall no one noticed had opened up. Its cause lay within the organization's internal structure. The success of the Pearl Harbor attack had dulled the entire Japanese Navy's judgment. Past triumphs had sown the seeds of new failures. The organization fell into groupthink, dominated by an atmosphere where dissent was difficult. The command's decisions were absolute. Reports and questions from the field were either interpreted to suit the high command or simply suppressed. Information distortion was fatal. U.S. code-breaking intelligence was disregarded, while Japanese scouting reports were overvalued. Resistance to changing the plan was also significant. The entire organization was rigid when it came to revising an already decided strategy. The surprise attack success gained at Pearl Harbor ironically hindered the idea that the enemy might also launch a surprise attack. The operational plan had already consumed enormous resources. To cancel or modify it was an unacceptable sunk cost. Thus, various factors intertwined, and the Japanese Navy, unable to halt its path to ruin, pressed on towards Midway. In the pre-dawn hours of June 5, 1942, a Nagumo Mobile Force reconnaissance plane spotted U.S. carriers. However, the report was delayed and also contained incorrect information. Upon receiving the report of U.S. carrier sightings, Nagumo ordered rearming, switching from bombs to torpedoes, then back from torpedoes to bombs, throwing the decks into utter chaos. Exploiting that brief window, U.S. dive bombers swiftly attacked the Japanese carriers. The 5 minutes of destiny had arrived. In mere minutes, the 4 main aircraft carriers, Aakash, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu were hit one after another and burst into flames. With their onboard aircraft exploding repeatedly, the Japanese Navy lost its core mobile force in an instant. This devastating blow forced the Japanese Navy to halt the Midway operation and retreat. The tide of the Pacific War had irrevocably turned. The defeat at the Battle of Midway serves as a modern-day warning of how overconfidence and the neglect of information can lead to terrifying consequences. Organizational rigidity and groupthink, no matter how talented the personnel or advanced the technology, can lead to decisive ruin. Why did overwhelming superiority backfire? It was due to overconfidence born from victory and an underestimation of the enemy's capabilities. Who overlooked what? The entire high command disregarded the critical intelligence that the U.S. had broken their codes. How can this be applied to modern crisis management? By not clinging to past successes, constantly analyzing information accurately, and ensuring organizational flexibility. The lessons of the Battle of Midway teach us the importance of not being trapped by past glory, not fearing change, and always maintaining an objective perspective. The quality of decision-making in life, business, and organizations will differ significantly between those who understand this failure and those who do not.